going down. What are your thoughts, and why hasn't Parliament intervened and corrected this before this?
Thank you, Sami. First of all, thanks for giving me an opportunity to be in this wonderful institution. The answer I want to give you is that Parliament is actually part of the problem. The scenario, Sami, the scenario we have in our country, here we are sitting in a sitting with stakeholders, individuals who are experienced, well-educated, and exposed. And what are we discussing? A program that is supposed to provide funding to university students, which is already implemented, and the implementers know nothing about it. Number two, I would like to thank my brother, Professor, who was teaching at KU. I always say this, Sami, and I'll repeat it here today in front of these young men and women. Your country is broken down. Unless intelligent and clever people sit down, people of wisdom, to fix some of this nonsense you see here, nothing is going to happen. I will say this. Look at the number of students we have. Look at the families where they come from. You don't even have the data that is going to tell you where this student comes from, where his background is, what is the basic revenue that the family has got. Then people go and sit in an office, concoct some figures, and say, now when you come, decide which band you're going to be. Is it this one, or this one, or this one? So, Sami, my position is very simple, and that is what needs to be done in that National Assembly. University education, primary school education, secondary school education in Kenya must be free.
All right.
Why do I say so?
Yep.
Look at the amount of money we're giving the Ministry of Education. 633 billion shillings a year. That is the money that President Kibaki ran this country the first year he took office and his second year. The whole country. He paid teachers, paid doctors, paid lawyers, paid everybody who would run this country. That is the budget of the Ministry of Education. Only. Where is the money going?
Okay.
The
right,
money
yeah.
that you people are supposed to get as capitation for you to go to school for free is actually being eaten by gentlemen and ladies.
Senator.
And I know, Sami, it will take maybe a whole day for us to go through this. Let me explain this. We don't have data on who you are. We don't have data in terms of your revenue in your village, your home, and your family. We don't even know how many children your father has. Why? Because you are being ambushed and being told to give information which you don't know whether it's going to be disadvantageous to yourselves. Then you now are told you've passed an exam and you are going to do medicine. And the professor has said, the PS has said, medicine is going to cost 600,000 shillings. Madam PS, some of these guys who get first-class honors are coming from homes where the total revenue plus the capital and everything is only 50,000 shillings.
All right, Senator.
So, Sami, what are we going to do with this young man or young lady who is going to university, who has finished high school, who is supposed to go to first year, who doesn't even have clothes to wear? And you are asking them so that they look for senator or MP or somebody who can fundraise for them, if not a church, and then you expect that child to finish their education. We are just jokers.
All right, Senator. And...
My last comment, Sami, is this. My last comment is this.
I'll get back to you.
This thing we are calling the new model, forget about it. I hope it lasts only this year. Next year, these guys should receive capitation to all their universities. I hope we would have gotten all the data, what you're going to study, how much that BUC Madam is talking about. Every university should tell the Kenyan people what they charge for every subject, why that is so, and why the other university is charging less. We should know. We should know which university is able to provide hostels for their students. We are treating our students like they are street peddlers, and you expect excellence from them. You can't get it.
All right, Senator. And
Yet again, the Parliament on the National Assembly and the Senate has been exposed by this one fearless senator who has decided to really bash them and tell them the reality. While in an open forum discussion about university funding and other things in the education industry, this guy decided to really come out and strongly raise his case by saying that indeed Parliament is the problem, and while Parliament is the problem, this is because they are implementing laws which they don't know about. Some of these people really don't care about the interest of the people. All they do is just pass laws for the sake of passing laws. For example, he said that the implementers of the new funding model really know nothing about it because they are just talking about things which they have no data about, and he even went as ahead to say, I quote, "This nonsense needs to stop." What nonsense needs to stop? According to the research I've done, the kind of nonsense he's talking about is the way in which these implementation are being taken place without considering these students, where they come from and what they have in pocket. For example, he went ahead to say that you find that medicine is costing 600,000, yet these people who want to pay 600,000, they don't know even the data of the family. They don't know how the family is. They don't know the total revenue of the family. They don't know how the family is. Even we find a student who has just finished Form 4. The only solution he has is to look for an MP or a church who can fundraise for him. That means it will be very difficult for the children to finish education. That's the first thing. He went ahead to give example of the former president, the late president Mwai Kibaki, who used 600 billion to fund several things which were running the government, and now this 600 billion is what is running the Ministry of Education alone. And he went ahead to say that indeed that's a scheme and a lot of money is stolen through these measures. And he went ahead to say, indeed, the vulnerable families in Kenya are suffering because there is no basic calculation or data which shows that you need to join which band. They're just given bands which even somebody else, even if he has heavy revenue, he will easily choose the band which he will pay the lowest because there's no data which is going to show about the family or what the family does. That is the reality. So even if it were you and you have money, will you go and choose the high paying band because you have money, or you just save yourself by choosing the lowest paying band? That's the first thing which came into expose. Another thing he says is that indeed education from the primary school must be free because Kibaki did it. And when Kibaki did it and regulated all these industries, now with this thing the government is trying to do is by making it very difficult for our future students to go to school. They want to create a class where that education is a privilege for the rich, but for the poor it will be something else. You will only be privileged to, not a right to education as the Constitution of 2010 enshrines now. So, Mr. Onyonga even went ahead to say that there is no data which is showing how this model of funding is going to work. There is no basic experiment. It was already taken off, and even the implementers knew nothing about it. Surely they can do better than this. So he went ahead to say that indeed each university is supposed to come out and say this is what we are charging by a subject and this is the reason, and this compared with other universities, the amount of money they will pay paying for hostels and other things. That's what they want to be exposed and really talked about in the current system, so that indeed even if the people of Kenya are going to pay their money for education, then it will be value for their money. That's the first thing which Mr. Richard Onyonga wants. So As Parliament and Senate is being exposed in terms of this passing of laws and bills which to some extent are affecting Kenyans, I really hope that Kenyans wake up and really come out very strong and condemn these activities. If your governor or your MP is just out there throwing tantrums in terms of passing laws or what, just come out strong and say that he is doing something which is affecting Kenyans. Make sure you comment and like this video.